Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning everyone. This is Dr. Azrul speaking, and today we are going to explore further topic in exception class, which called the finally clause or finally statement. The following example illustrate the way on how you can implement the finally statement. There will be three blocks of a statement. If you can look at the slide, the first one is a try block, followed by the catch block, and finally which is actually declared after the try and catch block. In general, the keyword finally is used along with try and catch block of a statement. It contains all the crucial statements that must be executed whether exceptions occur or not in your program. The statement presented in finally block will always execute. However, it is not compulsory for you to handle or to write this finally block, because in handling exceptions, you may end up your program with try and catch statement only without the use of a finally block. And therefore, I would say this is an optional topic for you, but still you have to know a little bit about it. Okay. The following is some guidelines and informational text about the finally statement. It explains about the situations if exceptions were triggered by the program or not. According to the slide, we can conclude that the exception could be triggered by within the try and catch block, or those exceptions were not triggered by any catch block. You may read the remaining text and try to understand some basic idea on the use of a finally statement. There will be example afterwards, so it will provide you with some assistance. Don't worry if you're experiencing difficulties to understand, because more examples are coming in the following slide. Okay, now we move to the first example. And this is an example of a basic program. According to the program example, the green color box, will be the statement that is executed. And for now, we assume that no exception is occurred in this case. Alright. So the catch block is skipped and the finally block is executed. The next statement out from the three blocks were executed at the end. Okay. Now we move to another example. Let's say that statement 2, which green in color, throw an exception called exception 1. The exception 1 is then handled and final statement from the finally block is executed afterwards. And next statement at the end of the program is executed. The following example describes statement 2 again. Okay, which green in color, detect and throw an exception of type 2, exception type 2, okay, and so the exception is handled by the catch block and then proceed to the finally statement and next statement. Okay guys, now we move to the real program, and you may implement this program example in your Eclipse editor. However, you need to type one line by line. Okay, I will not allow you just to copy and paste 100% from my program. So just put some effort to write the program and see the output and observe how it works. Okay, try to observe the output and understand the whole program. It will be extra advantage for you, okay, if you are able to change and improve the program a little bit. All right. After doing the previous example and perhaps more and more examples you have constructed, it can be assumed that you should be able to differentiate exception handling approach. Exception handling separates error handling code from normal programming tasks, thus making program easier to read and modify. However, exception handling at the same time requires more time and resources, because it requires instantiating a new exception object, rolling back the call stack, and propagating the errors to the calling methods. And when to throw exception. Okay, in general, exception occur in a methods. In case you want the exception to be processed by its caller, then you should create an exception object and throw it. But if you can handle the exception in the method that where it occur, there is no need to throw the exception, then you may handle it directly from the method. And now we have reached the final slide, and we can conclude that the exception handling can be implemented through try and catch statement or throwing exception. Both have their own benefits and specific techniques on the process of handling exception. The decisions on using which approach will be decided according to its suitability and appropriateness. That will be the end of today's lessons. Just a very short and quick review on finally statement and conclusion between try catch statement and throwaway exception. Thank you for watching and listening. This is Dr. Azrul. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.